Good morning. I wanted to do a quick bomb blast about Nvidia, which came out with some interesting news overnight. We learned that Masayoshi Son from SoftBank sold all of his shares of Nvidia. So a lot of people are asking, why has Masayoshi Son does this? Does this mean that it's all over for Nvidia? Does SoftBank believe that Nvidia is done with its run? Well, take a step back and let's think about what SoftBank does. SoftBank invests money in public companies and private companies, but SoftBank has made recently some very large commitments to make investments. Specifically, you might recall their investment in that Stargate project, that massive infrastructure build out, and many others. They recently announced a couple of private acquisitions. So they make a lot of private investments, and that means they need capital to do that. And their Nvidia stock was worth something north of $5 billion. And I also want to remind you that they have also in the past sold out of all their Nvidia shares long before it went on its epic climb, but they got back in. So how do we read into this? Well, there is one thing I want to point out is that there are lots of great investments out there in AI that are still private. Those might be actually the next big things, and we don't have access to that in the public markets. So it makes a lot of sense that SoftBank is trying to raise capital, and they're putting their capital to work elsewhere. And so the takeaway from this is, should we be worried about Nvidia? The answer is absolutely not. Nvidia has recently had some great announcements. Specifically, they have have actually produced their first Blackwell chip in the US. Now, they've not scaled up yet, but they are already diversifying their supply chains. Now, they're going to be developing those, they're going to be manufacturers in the US, and they recently announced a partnership in South Korea. And so they're going to be manufacturing them there as well. That's good news if you like the company, right? Because they're diversifying their supply chain. Makes a lot of sense. And we're always concerned that they have a lot of their eggs in the basket in Taiwan Semiconductor at Taiwan, which is within spitting distance of China. And there's always that geopolitical tension over there. Incidentally, it is with TSMC that they are developing those chip plants here in the US, right? So they know what they're doing. They're just doing it over here on US shores. So that's a positive thing. In terms of earnings, we're going to get their earnings next week, later next week, I believe. And we're still talking about 50+% earnings EPS growth year over year for this quarter. That's phenomenal. And in fact, they may get a pop in the quarter after. So the thesis for Nvidia, which is now not only investing its supply chain, but has also invested in its projects. They don't only develop chips for AI. They're in automobiles, they're in robotics, they're in lots of other spaces, software. You have to take a look and be sure that you understand where their future revenue sources are coming from, where that expected great growth is coming from, and you will see that the thesis for Nvidia has not changed. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video and check back often because we drop them here well before the market figures them out.